Hello, welcome back to the Music Majors Club podcast. Music Majors Club Unpacked is the title I'm still debating on calling this podcast. So you seeing this in the future or listening to this in the future, you will already know more than I know. But I think it's going to be called Unpacked because that's kind of like my brand. Anyways, welcome back to the show where we talk all things music. We dive into artists. We talk about fun things. If you haven't listened to the past two episodes, which are really simple, like an intro, a get to know me kind of situation, go back and listen to those first. If you have listened to those already and maybe you're watching visually on YouTube or whatever, this is the real first episode where we're going to like really get into it. So welcome back. And welcome to all. Like I said, if you're listening to this on podcasts, wherever you listen to, amazing. If you're listening to me in the car, whatever, cool. If you're not watching, come over to YouTube next. Give us that view over on podcasts or whatever. Make sure you finish, we want to, get that view, get that listen, whatever it's called. But if you haven't listened to me on the YouTube app, come over. There is tons to see. This, the visual set here that I've created in my home. I know it's very shocking. This isn't a studio. You'd be amazed to know the time that it takes to build this kind of stuff. It's really something else. This doesn't just happen. I know it's shocking, right? This doesn't just happen. The set here, the accoutrements, the lighting, the visuals. So come over on YouTube and check us out, or on TikTok or on Instagram or whatever platform you can watch this on. We got a lot of cool visuals. You'll get a lot of visual context. But listen, y'all, I have been excited all week to do this. I don't know what it is about the podcast concept. I don't know what it is about doing this in an open mic dialogue. If you listened to my last episode, I talked about how I'm not quite sure how that's going to feel. It's going to be a little awkward at first, but like with just recording and not cutting and stuff. But I've been looking forward to this all week. I'm really excited to do this podcast thing and talk. I don't know. There's something really exciting about it. I'm excited to let loose a little bit and be a little bit more not unfiltered because we're professional, but just a little bit more fun. I feel like this space is going to allow me to showcase my personality a little bit, if that makes any sense. I don't know. Just like be more fun, be more, less polished, I guess. Like less, record, film, play, cut. Like that's all I feel like I do on TikTok and on Instagram. And like, that's a whole other concept where the human brain just seems to only want to give on social media like 10 seconds of time at the most before anybody swipes onto the next post, And as a musician, as a person with a lot of thoughts, that can be hard to do in 10 seconds or less. Of course, if you're doing more than that, if you're doing your whole minute TikTok, if you're doing your 10-minute YouTube, I mean, I applaud that. Maybe that's where I'm going to get to. But I seem to find most success and engagement and stuff on social media with the quick stuff. It's true. So I don't know. Something about this whole open mic, open dialogue thing is exciting me. So now that that's all been said, there's a lot on the agenda today. I'm excited to dive in. We've got a lot of fun things to talk about. This conversation and this episode is all about the concept of music that gets stuck in your head. Yeah. So whether that's an earworm, if you've heard that verbiage before, we're going to talk about that as I visually on camera here. You can see I'm scratching my ear. It made me a little uncomfortable. The word earworm has always kind of been a weird one. So talking about what an earworm is, talking about how music can get stuck in your head as far as like a song that you might know, a song that you might not know. Interesting. We're going to talk about it. And then finally, with that conversation and music that's like repeating in your head over and over and over, talking about ways that you can get that song out of your head. Whoa. Yep. You heard it here first. We're gonna unpack it all. So buckle up, especially if you're driving. Make sure you're buckled up. Hold on to your hats because we're gonna get pretty crazy here. And yeah, we'll see where it goes. So The conversation about music getting stuck in your head, a song getting stuck in your head, repeating over and over and over, is stemmed on actually something that I heard a coworker of mine say. They were like, gosh, this song is stuck in my head. I can't get it out. It's just this one part. It's driving me crazy, yada, yada. And I thought, I wonder what that really is all about. So I started doing my own research, digging around, and spoiler alert, the funny thing about this conversation is that there's not really a answer. There's not a specified, black and white, this is it, this is why it happens, and here's the cure. I will put that spoiler out there, okay? I don't have the answer at the end. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a licensed practitioner. I'm not a lawyer. I can't give you legal advice. By the way, I know this is in portrait, and I know a lot of visual stuff is landscape. So if you're watching this on a platform like YouTube especially, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry it's in portrait. This is just the best setup. Look at this. Look at the shelf, okay? Look how perfect that is. It perfectly fits into portrait, okay? And into a vertical frame. I'm sorry. It is what it is, okay? When we evolve more and more, when we get, into the studio one day, maybe we'll have a bigger space to work in landscape. But just deal with it, okay? Just deal with it now. I'm sorry. I won't be taking any questions. I won't be taking any notes. It is what it is. I feel like if I have a guest one day, it's going to happen, that will be easier to go landscape, to go into the horizontal view where I'm here and the other person's there. That will be easier to fill the space. But right now, it's just not in the cards, okay? It's just not in the cards. It is what it is. All that, I needed to say that. I needed to get that off my chest. So anyways, so I don't have an answer for sure, but there are a lot of theories and there are a lot of reasons that you can, there are a lot of explanations and studies that have been done. So that's what we're going to unpack. Again, no, final solution at the end, but, most of us, here's another theory. Here's another thought. Most of us have music in our head at any given point of the day. Whether it's the same song over and over, whether it's the song that you're listening to, on the radio, just randomly playing in a movie, or whether it's a song that you have stuck in your head, which is the whole concept of this show, this episode. So, but then there's another side of how our brains work where some people don't actually really hear anything in their head. They don't hear, some people are able to think in their head thoughts, right? I'm the type of person where I can think something in my head. I have an inner monologue going. So I am talking to myself in my head, which sounds insane to put it into verbiage. Most people, from what I've seen, have that where they can hear a voice, their inner dialogue in their head. Some people don't. So that was news. That was a viral TikTok a while ago where some people were like, oh, I don't hear anything in my head. It's just silent. And apparently that's a thing too. Some people just don't hear anything in their head. So two sides, right, of the coin. I imagine that if you don't hear anything in your head, you might not have this music thing happening where you listen, you can't get a song out of your head. I don't know. I didn't do my research on that side. I will be honest. So if you're somebody who doesn't hear things in their head anyways, let us know. You might have the answer to our question. But if you normally hear verbiage in your head, you normally hear yourself talking to yourself, you might be like most people that get something stuck in their head as far as a song, the chorus of a song, the jingle from the radio, any of that kind of stuff. So that's laying the foreground, right? That's either side of that coin. You either used to hearing things in your head or you don't. And then you might hear music in your head or you don't. The concept of songs getting stuck in our head, for me, most of the time I have my favorite song in my head. The current playlist that I'm listening to, whatever my favorite song is, or whatever the song I keep listening to over and over in the car, walking around, whatever, that stems and typically is the first song. That's the current song on the playlist in my head, if that makes sense. That's a song that when I wake up, that is in, when I go to bed, that's typically the one that's okay, signing off, play that song, For me, I remember that used to bother me. I remember it used to drive me crazy when a song would be stuck in my head over and over. It doesn't really seem to bother me that much anymore, typically because if it's a song that I like if it is my favorite song that I'm listening to a lot, I'm okay with it. I'm jamming, I have like my own MP3 player playing in my head with that song, However, the other side of that is if you don't enjoy that song, right? If you are like, or maybe it's like an annoying song, or maybe it's a song that you don't really know. There's a lot to that. So let's talk about more of that first part where you have a favorite artist, you have a favorite song from that artist, you have a favorite album from that artist, and the song that is like your favorite, you keep listening to over and over. That's the most, I think, like what makes the most sense for a song to be stuck in your head, just because you like it. You're always thinking about it. You're always jamming to it. Maybe there's a lyric in the song that you really, really love. That part might keep repeating in your head. Maybe there's a instrumentation in the song that you really like a specific part where like maybe the beat drops or maybe a different instrument comes in. That part could get stuck in your head because you just genuinely like it. I mean, that's at the end of the day, the point of music, or, a big portion of music is for you as the listener to enjoy what you're hearing, right? So a lot of what gets stuck in our head is based on things that we enjoy. That is like, if you're intentionally listening to a song or an artist or an album, because you enjoy that, that's part of why you might have something stuck in your head anyways, just because like your brain's like, yep, that's it. I love that part. Got to keep playing it. So that's one reason. And that's kind of like what would make the most sense, I feel, right? You enjoy it. Your brain wants to keep thinking about it, repeating it. We love it. Here's the other side. So this is what I was actually explaining to, okay, and before I even say that, jumping all over the place, I want to say this stuff before I move on or get sidetracked. If you think about it musically, a lot of, especially pop music, so radio music, your top 100, your popular songs that are played over and over and over, a lot of that music, specifically in pop, has a simple note progression. So now we're getting into music theory here, okay? As I said, hang on to your hats. Here we go. So a lot of like popular music uses notes that are either very simple with a monotone, meaning like the same note. And a lot of times in pop music, it could be over and over and over. Mono meaning one. Or it could be like it could be a couple different notes, but they're all based in note patterns that are very close together. So because I have this keyboard here, I'm going to show that to you. Now don't go all crazy in the comments. This is not the law, the rule. This is just the sometimes. This is the usually, okay? This isn't every single song ever. This isn't every pop song ever, right? I'm not saying all, just putting that out there. So the concept of that monotone, let's say, and I know the keyboard is not plugged into audio. It's going to be through this mic. Okay. I have a lot going on. Just deal with it. You can hear it, I hope. So monotone, like let's say one note, middle C. If this was in a pop song, you could hear like that same note over and over in a pop song, especially like a big dance song. Like you might just hear a note like that repeated over and over and over, even though, you don't realize that that's that note, maybe if you're not like musically listening to it, but the artist might be singing that note. Whoa, not that note. Like consecutively, or it could be long notes. Like it doesn't have to be staccato like that. Teaching you all the words here. It could be long notes, but the concept of a monotone song, and it doesn't have to be C, it could be any of these notes. It could be anything. Just the monotone. That's simple to hear. That's simple to remember. That's simple to digest. So the concept of like even pop music or top 100 or things that you hear all the time, a lot of them are stemmed in music that's easy. You don't have like a huge classical, arrangement of the vocals. You're not hearing, and sometimes you might, right? Not all times, but you're not hearing like big jumps or like whatever, A classical arrangement is typically going to be much more intense. Classical music, I mean, of course, that's instrumentation. I'm talking specifically here, pop music, a vocalist, somebody singing, somebody rapping, somebody doing something simple in spoken word. So not just instrumentation, not classical, whatever. You get it. Okay, that's all the precursor. So that's the concept of a monotone note. And what I feel like when I hear pop music is used a lot, and in my interpretation, my belief in that is that that's just easy to listen to. It's easy to remember, and at the end of the day, an artist wants a successful song that you're going to keep revisiting, right? They want you to enjoy the song. They want it to be easy for you to hear, and if it's something that you can remember easily, you're probably going to listen to it again and again. And by keeping it stuck in your head, you're going to want it more and more. So that's like the note pattern that's easy. It could be something simple, or if it is moving and it's not that monotone, it could be really close by. Like these are close to each other, right? Those are all really close. And again, picture this as if like a singer was singing those notes, not just the instrumentation, but if a singer was like da-na, da-na-na, you know, whatever, versus like, or like, well, that sounded pretty cool. So a lot of note patterns in pop music are really close by. So that's a reason why you could get something stuck in your head. Not only do you like it, not only do you like the artist, do you like the, the arrangement of the instruments, the musicality of it all, but the notes themselves might be really easy to remember. They might be so close by that you're like, oh yeah, like a lot of jingles, like a radio jingle for a commercial or for a sponsor or for an ad. It's going to be something simple. It's going to be something easy to remember. And I would play them for you here, but I feel like I'm going to get like YouTube copyright and all kinds of stuff. So that's why I'm just playing a simple melody on the keys here for you. So we're improvising. We're dealing with what we can. We have our resources. We're using them. Yeah. If you look up like any jingle, typically, and then you listen to like the pattern of the notes, they're probably really, really simple and really close together. So that's one concept. Okay. If you follow me so far, the next concept is actually the opposite of enjoying the song and knowing the song because it's simple. If you don't know the song, or maybe you're not familiar with the song, maybe it's a new song to you, maybe it's not one that you've heard a whole lot, or it just came out from an artist. Here's the other side. You actually, follow me, here we go. You actually might have a song stuck in your head. One specific part might be stuck in your head on a loop or a repeat that you might feel is just endless and constant, and you're never gonna get it to go away. It's because you actually don't know what that part of the song really entails. Maybe it's the lyrics that you don't quite know. Maybe it's the pattern of the melody. It's something with the actual concept of your brain not knowing what it is and continuously putting it on a loop to try to figure it out. Isn't that crazy? So, for example, if a brand new song comes out and you don't know what it is, like you don't know what a specific part is or whatever, you're still learning it, your brain actually considers listening to a song. This is a study that I've seen, okay? This is not a study that I did. It's just research that I've seen. Your brain listens to a song, especially a new song, and considers it a task that it is completing, okay? So a task just like remembering to bring in the milk from the car, or remembering at the end of the night that at 4 o'clock you need to do something. Listening to music is a similar concept where, especially new music, it's a task that it is listening to the song, digesting the song, learning the song, whatever. And it's almost a task that your brain is trying to complete. Okay. So if there's a part of the song that you don't know, like let's say it's the chorus, like let's say it's the beginning of the chorus, and your brain, because it's a new song to you, it doesn't know it yet. It hasn't fully learned and completed the task of learning that song and that part of the song. Your brain is repeating that song over and over because it's trying to complete the task of learning it. I know. It's crazy, right? Are you shook too? So your brain is literally going to keep repeating it over and over until you repeat it, until you learn it. Repeating it until you learn it. Make sense? So that's pretty crazy. So if that's happening to you and you're like, it's driving you nuts, give yourself a break, because think about it this way. Think about it in your brain. You're probably doing that over and over because your brain is trying to learn it, okay? It's not trying to just drive you crazy. It's trying to master that concept of that part or that lyric or that whatever sequence of notes because your brain's trying to learn it. So what do? What the heck? How do we get rid of this song in our head? How do we move on? How do we get the next song in our head? How do we get that gap that just keeps playing on a loop over and over out? Let's talk about it. So remember, these aren't actual solutions, okay? These aren't confirmed solutions. These are just aids that could help you, okay? So try them. If they don't work for you, it's not my fault, okay? I'm just saying these are options. These are things that could help you. Number one, listen to the part that you don't know, okay? So segueing perfectly from the concept that we just talked about, listen to the part that you don't know. If there is specifically a chorus that you can't quite grasp, if there's a verse that the lyrics you just don't quite know, listen to that part and listen to it a couple times. Repeating something over and over is step one to help you learn something and really digest it. If you just hear it for the first time and you don't really know it, but it's catchy to you, like the song in general that you're talking about that's stuck in your head, you might need to listen to it more. Your brain might be telling you, okay, I'm into this, or maybe not. Maybe your brain doesn't like it, but for whatever reason, because it's back to the first concept, like it's an earworm, it's just something that might be stuck in your head. Like the melody is just sticky enough that it's just like it's grasped onto your brain. A lot of times it could be because you don't know what it is. So imagine that. Listen to the part that you're trying, that's stuck in your head. Learn it. If you listen to it enough times, your brain might consider that task complete. Tying it all together here, right? If you have got that part down and you've grasped it, try listening to something else. So not only did you listen to just that part a few times and you learned it, listen to the song, like listen to the whole thing, let your brain complete that task. It's completed this task, it's completing the whole task of the whole song, and then listen to something else. Listen to like a different genre. Listen to something totally different, you know? If you're listening to a pop song, listen to like a country song, or listen to jazz or something that's just totally different so that your brain shifts its focus into something else. That genre shift, that instrumentation will sound like, you know, something different, and your brain probably won't go back to that song before, especially if you've learned it. And then the finale. This is one that I didn't know. I mean, most of this is based on some research that I've done. So some things I've known, some things I've like added on to the concept, I guess. But this one, I never knew, I never thought of, and I haven't technically tried it yet. So everyone's guess is as good as mine to see if it works. But a lot of people from the research that I've done have said this works, and it is chewing gum. The pattern that your mouth and jaw take when chewing gum is creating its own rhythm, its own beat, its own sequence of notes in a way. So as you're chewing gum, like whether it's fast, whether it's slow, the research has shown that if you are doing that, you are creating your own rhythm, your own pattern, your own beat, and that is going to hopefully knock out the pattern of the beat in the song that you have stuck in your head. And because it's going to be different, I mean, if you chew to the beat of that song, it's not going to help. But if you just chew gum normally, or if you specifically try to chew gum in a different tempo, for different rhythm, different pattern, you will have a better chance of knocking the song out, because it's just so different. It's like a juxtaposition. So your brain is mentally thinking one thing, it's got its own BPM, its own beats per minute, its own tempo. And then if you start chewing, you're going to create a different one, maybe one that's faster, maybe one that's slower, whatever, and you're going to knock it out. I mean, how cool is that? Those are my solutions. Those are my 3 solutions that may or may not work for you to get a song out of your head, an earworm out of your head, learn the part of the song that you need, and then move on with your life. I felt like this concept was a really good, like, general concept. Any of us, for the most part, I think can relate to that or have experienced that. So hopefully that was beneficial for you to learn and listen to and discuss. I have so many more concepts in mind for the show. So, and like I mentioned, guests. So please, stick around. Go ahead and subscribe wherever you're listening. Go ahead and, listen online to, just audio, and then come watch us on YouTube or whatever platform. Like, get involved. And there's something else I was going to say at the end here. Oh, I want to do a favorite song or like a currently listening to song. We're going to call this the currently streaming section, okay? So I am currently streaming this one song. So go listen to it. And again, I won't be able to play it now, but it's called Spend the Night by BJ the Chicago Kid and Coco Jones. Spend the Night. It's a bop, okay? It's got this like Bruno Mars, like slow but kind of still fast. Like this is literally the beat of it. It's really, I don't know. It's a vibe. It's a bop. I love it. I keep listening to it over and over and over. So that's my current stream. Let me know what your current stream is. Let me know what you're listening to and what I should check out. And just like before, be sure to subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And you too can become a music major. Thank you so much for listening and watching if you made it this far. I really, really appreciate it. I'm really excited about this project, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.